Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today we are jumping straight into something that sounds like it was pulled right out of a sci-fi movie. And honestly, it's a little terrifying. Can artificial intelligence actually read your mind? I mean, just imagine a world where a computer could understand exactly what you're thinking without you ever needing to speak a single word. It sounds completely futuristic, right? But researchers in labs today are moving unbelievably fast, making huge leaps every single month. So let's break down the real science of brain decoding. All right, first things first, let's do a quick reality check here. Because if you're picturing some rogue AI scanning your brain from across a crowded room while you sip your coffee, yeah, you can totally relax. The short answer is no. An AI cannot secretly read your thoughts like you see in the movies. It can't magically extract your deepest private secrets while you're just walking down the street. We aren't quite living in a dystopia just yet. The actual truth is that today's mind-reading technology is absolutely incredible, but it really only works under highly controlled conditions. True brain decoding right now requires massive, incredibly heavy equipment, tons of careful training, and crucially, your full active cooperation. You have to willingly participate for any of this to work. Literally, if you panic or clench your jaw or even just start doing random mental math in your head to distract yourself, the whole scan falls apart and the AI gets nothing. To really appreciate where we are today, it helps to see where we started. We've been trying to measure the human mind for a long, long time. Back in the 19th century, people tried phrenology, which was this completely debunked pseudoscience of literally feeling the bumps on someone's skull to gauge intelligence. By the late 20th century, we developed invasive neural probes, which meant actually surgically implanting electrodes directly into the brain. But today, we've arrived at the era of non-invasive tools, specifically fMRI and EEG scanners, so we can finally look inside the brain without ever breaking the skin. Okay, so how does it actually work? Well, before we talk about the AI, we have to understand what we can call the fingerprint of thought. The crazy scientific reality we're leveraging here is that our thoughts are physical. Every single distinct thought you have creates a totally unique, physically measurable pattern in your brain, either as tiny electrical signals or microscopic shifts in blood flow. Just like a fingerprint, each thought leaves a signature. Thinking about a dog lights up a completely different path in your brain than thinking about an apple. So, the grand idea behind all of this is essentially building a giant dictionary. First, scientists build that dictionary by recording hours and hours of a person's brain activity to establish a solid baseline. Next, they bring in custom-built AI and large language models to comb through the data, finding the hidden patterns and linking that specific brain activity to spoken words. And finally, the really amazing part, they use that newly trained AI to look at brand new brain signals and decode them straight back into text. Right now, there are two main technologies racing to decode our thoughts, and they could not look more different. On one side, we have the fMRI scanner. This is a massive, stationary machine that takes up a whole room and uses giant magnets to track oxygen-rich blood flow deep inside the brain. On the other side, we have the EEG. This is way more portable, essentially a cap embedded with highly sensitive electrodes that you wear on your head to measure the tiny electrical fields your brain produces. Think of it like this. Comparing fMRI to EEG is kind of like comparing a high-def photograph to a high-speed video camera. fMRI measures blood flow and has amazing spatial resolution. It takes a super crisp picture of exactly where a thought happens, which is great for catching the overall meaning or the gist of a thought. The EEG cap, on the other hand, measures electrical fields. It doesn't give you that sharp picture, but it's super fast. It has fantastic temporal resolution, meaning it tries to catch individual words in real time as you think them. Let's look at the fMRI approach first. To train their AI model, researchers at the University of Texas at Austin had human subjects lie entirely still inside one of those giant fMRI scanners for 16 hours straight. Just imagine trying not to move a single muscle for 16 hours while stuck in a giant magnetic tube. During all that time, the subjects just listened to engaging narrative podcasts. That massive mountain of data was absolutely necessary to help the AI find the true signal hidden inside the incredibly noisy environment of the human brain. So, did it work? Well, look at how the AI performs here. The person in the scanner heard the phrase, "We start to trade stories about our lives." The AI decoded their brainwaves and spit out, "We started talking about our experiences." Notice how it didn't produce a perfect word-for-word transcript. Instead, the AI accurately captured the underlying meaning. It is literally paraphrasing human thoughts, understanding the core concept, rather than just copy-pasting the exact words. That is mind-blowing. But the researchers took it a massive step further. They stopped playing the podcast completely. They simply asked the subject to imagine telling a story silently in their head without hearing or seeing any prompts at all. And guess what? The AI decoder still worked. The exact same model, which was trained entirely on outward perceived speech, was able to successfully decode purely imagined internal thoughts. Just let that sink in for a second. To actually quantify how well this worked, researchers brought in independent people, gave them only the AI's decoded text, and asked them to answer multiple choice questions about the original story. The result? They got 9 out of 16 questions right. Now, passing a reading comprehension test based purely on a translation of someone's brainwaves is a staggering achievement. It's a huge leap way beyond random chance, proving that the core meaning really was extracted directly from the brain. Meanwhile, halfway across the globe, another team at the University of Technology Sydney in Australia is attacking this with the portable EEG approach. They developed a non-invasive cap that subjects can wear while just sitting in a normal chair. In their study, participants read text out loud, and the AI works to chop up those rapid-fire electrical brainwaves and encode them directly into individual word tokens. It's a completely different method aimed at getting much closer to real-time translation. And this portable system is definitely making its own breakthroughs. It uses AI that teaches itself by reading massive amounts of text, very much like the tech powering ChatGPT. Though, as you can see, it's not quite perfect yet. When a subject read, "I'd like a bowl of chicken soup, please," the AI decoded it as, "Yes, a bowl of beef soup." So yeah, it might occasionally mix up your dinner order, swapping chicken for beef, but it is unbelievably close to the original target thought. Even with the soup mix-ups, the lead researchers estimate that this state-of-the-art portable mind-reading tech is currently hitting about 60% accuracy. 60%. That number is absolutely astonishing when you remember that just a few short years ago, reading brainwaves to form coherent sentences without surgical implants was considered literally impossible. We are watching a technological barrier get smashed in real time. Now you might be asking yourself, why does this matter so much? Why pour all this money into it? Simply put, this is a medical miracle in the making. This exact technology could one day give a voice back to paralyzed individuals who are locked in their own bodies. It could help stroke victims communicate easily with their families again. It could even help doctors definitively assess a patient's hitting level of consciousness after a major accident. It is a profound, total game changer for healing. But of course, as these AI models and brain scanners inevitably get faster, smaller, and vastly more powerful, we are forced to ask a really heavy question. Is the privacy of our inner thoughts in danger? In a modern world where our digital privacy is constantly under assault, our inner mind has always been our final, truly untouchable sanctuary. The scientists doing this research are deeply aware of what's at stake. Jerry Tang, the lead author of that UT Austin fMRI study, hit the nail on the head when he said, "Nobody's brain should be decoded without their full cooperation." These researchers aren't just crossing their fingers. They are proactively arguing that strict ethical and legal boundaries must be drawn right now to ensure this tech is used strictly for medical empowerment and never for unauthorized surveillance or sketchy corporate data collection. I want to wrap up by leaving you with this century-old thought from author Charlotte Bronte. She wrote that the mind is the sacred sanctuary into which no one could enter unbidden. It's a beautiful, timeless sentiment, and it poses one final provocative question for us all. As artificial intelligence continues its relentless advance right into our biology, what steps will we take to protect the sacred sanctuary of our own minds? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep wondering, and I'll catch you next time.